Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for an info session for the VCU Graduate Certificate in Healthcare Innovation. My name is Allison Schumacher. I am the Director of Academic Alchemy for the VCU Da Vinci Center and co-director of this particular program. Ingrid, you want to give yourself an introduction here?
I certainly will. I apologize that my video camera doesn't work. You just have an image of me there. Nurse scientist at the School of Nursing. I am also the co-director of this program. My background is I have medical devices. I work with Parkinson's patients largely to help them walk more smoothly and easily and to deal with their tremors, etc. I own two companies and they're in various stages of development. So that's what I bring here. And I bring a lot of questions too that were answered by the certificate program and by Allison and her people. So I'm a big proponent of the Da Vinci Center. I think they're awesome. The School of Nursing courses we'll talk about later and what they bring to the program. But together, I think we make a really good pair matching.
100%. Yeah. And Ingrid also does mentorship for our students who are interested in the healthcare space and kind
Right.
of navigating some of those nuances. So let me just kind of jump in here. So, um, this whole certificate is really meant to help students get real world experience looking into the world of healthcare and how to create healthcare products. So it's kind of balanced between healthcare providers who see the problems in the systems every day and have ideas for products or services or processes that can help improve the healthcare space. We also have a lot of people coming in who are interested in getting into the healthcare space, but don't necessarily understand the regulations and how health systems work and safety and all of those kinds of things. So we're attempting to bridge this gap with a 12 credit certificate that's a mix between the Master of Product Innovation in the VCU Da Vinci Center and the Master of Nursing Leadership in the School of Nursing here at VCU. So what you're seeing on your screen here are a few examples of some of the medical products that we have been able to develop over time. Some more in Da Vinci programs, and we're quickly growing with other opportunities that our students are developing through this program. We just have to be a little careful because some things are intellectual property and we can't put certain devices out there until they're fully covered. So right now I can kind of give you an example of what you're seeing here. So that first image on the left, burr sticks. So being stuck with a drill while you are a dental student is a pretty common thing, and it requires a lot of disease testing and various things, healthcare expensive things that students have to follow up with. So one of a student reached out to the Da Vinci Center and said, "Hey, how can we help prevent burr sticks going forward?" So we had cross-disciplinary students. What is happening? Two. Okay, sorry. I have the presentation up on two screens and something just
Oh,
exploded on my screen.
that was me. Sorry.
You're fine, no big deal. So this particular device is meant to hold the drill in a specific way that it cannot turn around to actually stick a student as they are moving their limbs around their workspace. The second device here, it's a little hard to see, but these students were working on a special kind of test that would allow people with chronic sinusitis or rhinitis to be able to test whether it is an allergy or it is a virus or a bacterial infection. So they can take the right step into going to the correct doctor or taking the right medication to be able to solve for their chronic runny nose. The middle one here, not super clear on what that is, just looks like a calendar. But we had students work with a local startup called Answers Now that helps provide ADA education to children on the autism spectrum and their parents being directly involved. The students discovered that there was a miscommunication that was happening or a lack of communication between the teacher and the parent. Behaviors at home can impact how they do education, in the classroom. And so our students developed something that's kind of like a period tracker that would allow parents to be able to quickly record and code what behaviors they were experiencing at home and immediately share that with their teacher. So that way their teacher and the parent could come together to be able to better support their student. Um, the second to the last one here on the right, That one is an interesting process to develop a new dental shroud. This one actually just hit the market. So when you are in dental school, you have to go through board testing, which means that you basically have a fake face with a fake set of teeth that have the same kind of decay for every single student taking those boards. These shrouds, those I guess, plastic or silicone shrouds that go over the device that students use for these boards. It breaks easily. It's super expensive. So our students figured out a way to make it more durable, fixable, and to be able to produce these things pretty quickly. These are students who have no experience in sculpture or anything, and they figured out a way to be able to sculpt this thing, scan it in, get it refined by a professional group. They started a business with it, and now are already shipping this new product out to different dental schools and to an organization that specifically provides these kinds of shrouds to dental schools. So they already had a first customer. Great to see them launch this business. It is a side hustle for them. It is not their primary source of revenue, but it's certainly a nice thing to have on the side, right? If you can develop something like that and put it out to a sizable market, it's pretty fantastic. The last one here is one of 6 designs that were put forward, 3 of which were patented to help with CBC line placement. Basically, when you have certain kinds of medical issues, a line can be placed to administer medicine directly to your heart, and there is a problem when that line gets lost. It can actually slip into the person and get lost in their chest cavity. And it's super dangerous and very expensive and leads to lawsuits and those kinds of things. So this is one particular designs that students used to prevent that line from being able to pass through into the body and maintain it on the outside. I am not a medical person, so I hope all of that made sense to people who are medical.
You
I
did a
know
good
enough to
job.
be dangerous. Okay. Looking at resources that we offer for this particular program, we have lots of options for students to kind of reach out and form community. A lot of this program is asynchronous and online. About half of it is that way. And it can be a little difficult. You're still working teams. Ingrid will kind of talk about that a little bit more later. But we want to make sure that students have an opportunity to engage with each other. So we've set up a Miro board that allows students to put in their contact information, what they're interested in, so they can kind of cross-pollinate a little bit on their own, and we can bring them together in certain meetings, have speakers from healthcare startups, those kinds of things. Um, the Miro board is specific just for these students. So we only share that network within the students in this particular program. If you're a VCU student, you get free Adobe Suite, and you also have access to LinkedIn Learning through the VCU library, which can give free tutorials. So if you're a person who just wants to use your creative skills or wants to develop those skills, you have free access to the software and to the training, which is pretty wonderful. Also, we offer in the Da Vinci Center Lego Serious Play methodology. So being able to use Lego, not to build a plane or a car, but using Lego as a metaphor for feelings and tension to be able to better define a problem. So if you have a group of people sitting around a table and they've been given a problem, each one of those people has a different perception of what that problem is and what those solutions might be, what potential solutions might be. Hey, we got Ingrid on camera. Look at
I
that.
tried again.
She fixed it. There we go. So basically, it allows you to have something that is symbolic in your hand. It doesn't have to actually look like anything representational, but you can point to it and talk about how you're thinking about a specific problem so that everyone on your team can understand your perspective. And then we can start from that place instead of trying to figure out where the miscommunication might happen. We can clearly articulate our viewpoints, and it can get a lot deeper than that. But as a start, that's, I think, a good way to understand Lego Serious Play. Uh, oops, I have a fall link on this, but you can still click on these to be able to see any events that we have in the Da Vinci Center or in the School of Nursing. All right, let's click on the next one. Spaces and tools here. We have a few options. So the Da Vinci Center has a makerspace with vacuum form machines and 3D printers and laser cutters and sewing machines and all kinds of things to do rough prototyping. We have access to the 10,000 square foot makerspace over in the College of Engineering that you can use if you go through some safety training. but you can also have them fabricate more high resolution models of a particular device that you might be interested in. We like to keep it messy and dirty and quick so we can do quick tests, learn what parts need to be refined in a particular product. The second image here, I really got to replace. That is the most dull picture of Shift Retail Lab that we've ever seen. It's before we actually launched this back in 2021. So Shift Retail Lab, much like you have biology classes with biology labs, this is the lab for product innovation and entrepreneurship. Students can, or alumni, or our community members can come in, be a shelfie, as we call them. You have a select shelf, and you go through training to figure out what it is you want to learn. But you essentially are pitching an idea to the community to get feedback, or you're selling a product that you already produce, which you maintain 100% of what you earn out of that. We even provide a small stipend for students to be able to prototype and put some really good energy into it without having to worry so much about how they might pay for it. Um, the third one here, it's a classroom. It's got modular systems, but this is our big classroom that we use for events and all of our courses at Da Vinci. Needing to be modular because you're seeing chairs in rows, but that is a pretty rare thing in Da Vinci Center. Usually we're meeting in groups or in pods of things. Ingrid, do you want to describe the nursing spaces there?
I do. Across campus on Lee Street, East Lee Street, we have a biobehavioral lab, which you see the director of it is sitting there doing some work. So that's space that's usable. And also, of course, with permissions, we have kitchenettes and we have the normal student space for gatherings, etc. So there's across campus many different places to think,
Think
create,
and collaborate, especially if you're in
yes,
an asynchronous class and on a team. Nice to
network,
be able to meet in
yes.
person sometimes. Yeah.
So, and I did want to say something about the Legos. It just occurred to me, working with so many different disciplines, there's so many different languages that are used, even though we have the same words. But it looks to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Allison, is those Legos really translates all those language barriers. So
100%.
there's the ideas are better conveyed in using items like that.
Yeah.
Could have used that in a meeting earlier today, but
We've even used it in conflict resolution.
I could see that. I could see that. So it's just everything is cutting edge, I think. Using stuff that is out there and testing it and moving it forward to new uses is just something that Da
We're
Vinci
real
does and School of Nursing is partaking in. So it's wonderful.
100%.
Um,
Oops, I went backwards there. There we go.
the deadlines that we have, are these updated? Yes.
Mhm.
So for spring, the deadline for it opened in June, but the deadline is November 1st. For the summer,
No, or for the spring, it's November 1st. Yep.
yeah. And then for summer, it is April 15th. And then for the fall, June 15th. So it's kind of a rolling admissions. So you really don't have much of, or if any, lag time in there. So we're keeping it like that. We tested it. We think it works. We do have more people coming in the spring because that's their natural go-to. But absolutely, there's courses in all three of these semesters. So we'll talk about those too. Um, Part-time is program could be 1 to 2 years to complete. Nursing courses are all online. They're mostly asynchronous with some synchronous times depending on the course. Da Vinci's courses are online, some of them, but some of them are in-person courses, and those are usually scheduled after 5 o'clock to accommodate working professionals. So the spring deadline I said was November 1st, and the summer deadline is April 15th. You can apply, they have to apply the students through the VC's graduate school. And I believe it was mentioned, but it's worth mentioning again. It's a 12 credit graduate certificate. It's multidisciplinary. 6 credits are from the VCU School of Nursing in the leadership track and organizational science track. And that's so that people understand the healthcare system. And two things happen there is understanding the system and how to integrate an idea or how to figure out what is the need and to fix a problem that's identified. And then 6 credits are from Da Vinci's Center Master Program Product Innovation Program. But don't let those 6 credits limit you. You can take as many as you want, and there are many choices, particularly in the innovation program. So I think the next slide will be
Actually,
slide.
I have one more part to add to this. So this is
Sure.
a new thing that's coming out in our bulletin for this next year. So right now, the bulletin shows that we have a online program and a hybrid program. The hybrid program is we're not going to be using that language. So if you wish to complete the certificate fully online, you would apply to the online program. In the event that you are applying to the program to complete some of your courses in person, which I personally believe is pretty beneficial to be in an environment with lots of different people from different backgrounds. It's pretty inspiring. You need to apply for the in-person one. So if even if some of them are going to be online, if you apply for the online, you will not be allowed to take any in-person courses. So you need to, I guess, put it under the hybrid or the in-person one as you might see it. There are two different applications that you'll see in the system. So just want to make that clarification so we have people applying to the right programs.
Right.
Right.
That is confusing. So the requirements at a glance. You need a baccalaureate degree from an accredited college or university with, we say, GPA 3.0 or higher on a 4 scale, but there are exceptions that are made. We understand that people have various experiences and we look at a holistic review of each applicant. So if anybody's lower than that, that should not scare anybody. The GREs and the GMATs and MCATs tests are not, those scores are not required for this program. There are requirements at the university level for non-native English speakers who have not previously been awarded an undergraduate degree taught in English from a university or a college in the United States. So they need to provide evidence of a TOEFL of 100, score of 100 or higher, or an IELTS 6.5 or higher, or a passing score on the VCU English Language Program Comprehensive Test.
I believe Duolingo also has an agreement with VCU now to be able to offer an
Uh,
option. I need to update
that's
that
nice.
slide. Yeah.
That's nice.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, right? I mean, having multiple options just to be able
Yep.
to help others be successful. Okay, you want to talk about the nursing classes, and then I'll jump into the.
Yeah. In the spring, we have a nursing 517. It's implications for human and material resource management. And then we have improvement science and outcomes management is offered in the summer. And then in the fall, holistic leadership and healthcare delivery. So in each of these courses, you learn more of a systems view of what's going on in the healthcare setting. Various courses will give you information about needs assessment, um, problems, and what's the words I'm using? The holistic leadership, it's how you lead and how others lead and the identification of that and how you can interact with them. Communication's a big factor, and I think both sides in Da Vinci and also absolutely the School of Nursing. Um, but knowing those, knowing what to look for, outcomes, needs assessments, problem solving, and how to speak with people on the healthcare side makes a big difference. So that's very helpful, and it's leadership program.
So on the Da Vinci side, we have a few different classes, and well, we have a lot more than what's listed here. So there are plenty of
Right.
options for people to kind of figure out what they want to do with the certificate, what they want to learn, and build their own adventure. So we do a lot of experiments. I call them they're academic experiments in Da Vinci, where we listen to our students and faculty and identify gaps, and then offer new topics courses each semester to allow for those gaps to be filled. And if the class meets, enough enrollment, we run it. And if we don't, then it doesn't run. But it's rare that our classes don't run. So I'm going to walk through a few of them that are an integral part, already full courses that have their own course number. And then we'll talk a little bit about the some of the electives and topics courses that we offer. So
And
this
those
first
are
one,
fascinating.
yeah, they certainly can be. So in 0651, we tend to speak in numbers here. It's called the Master Project in Product Innovation 1. So this is actually the first half of the capstone for the Master of Product Innovation. So it takes a person who already has a product idea or a problem in mind, and they actually pitch to our committee to have that idea accepted, really looking for ideas that we can explore in a 15-week period, right? And really make progress, but The thought is that you're coming in with an idea and we help you validate that, make sure there's a market for it, build business models for it, understand the unique value that it brings to the market. So, really just understanding how viable, feasible, desirable your idea or your product might be. Some students have to pivot, but we've had students try to create platforms to be able to disseminate medical information so that it can actually go into practice much sooner. We've had a pulmonologist uh, start to build a better draining system for when he's conducting surgery for student or for patients experiencing different kinds of lung surgeries and those kinds of things. Um, we've had a lot of other things too in medical research and being able to create an algorithm that can determine your risk profile for
Mhm.
getting melanoma, which is pretty interesting. And those are all examples from within this certificate. So if you have a product idea in mind, this might be great. And you can knock out all 6 credits of the certificate in just that one course. It is fast paced and it is intense, but every student we've had from the certificate who's taken it has really enjoyed it. And you're right next to all of the MPIs from arts and business, engineering and humanities, and medical. I have a pediatric dental surgeon in my master's program and in the certificate, as well as MDs that come through. So we see a lot of crossover between these things. Inno 600 Integrative Design Studio is actually a 3-week trip to Portugal. So this is the European Innovation Academy, where people from about 65 different nations all come together in Porto, Portugal, to form teams of 5, start with an idea, and go from basically idea all the way through the product development process and pitch to investors in just 3 weeks. Now, the idea that we're going to have a viable business come out that you've developed with 4 strangers at the end isn't super likely, but it does give the breadth of knowledge of everything from idea all the way to launching a startup. It's pretty darn valuable, and I've really enjoyed being able to take students there. Um, Fall classes, the main 2 that we offer through the certificate program and also to students that are just in the nursing leadership program. In 0502, we've noticed that a lot of people really want to experience the business side of things. How do you actually figure out that viability, that feasibility, and work to launch something? How do you develop a business model? Super important when you're talking about product. The 590 Da Vinci course, it's a personal favorite considering I teach it. This one, it says with permission. So basically, students from the certificate can take this. I just need to know a little bit in advance because it takes me 6 months to a year to really cultivate all of the sponsored projects that we bring in. So I'm going out to nonprofits, startups, large organizations, and corporations to bring in real world problems that we put cross-disciplinary teams on to solve, to go back to that company to be launched. The idea is that they become a real thing. And part of that is doing all of that validation research, making sure there's a market, and pitching back to the sponsors with a really convincing argument that they need to move forward with the proposed recommendations. Every semester, we offer Inno 610. This is Innovation, Design Thinking, and Change Management. It offers, it's a really good introduction, I think, well, introduction and then kind of deep dive into the design thinking process. So if you're new to design thinking or to change management, this is an excellent class. It's fully online. And it is taught by someone who does this out in the real world. Actually, all of our faculty do this stuff out in the real world. So applied learning, you also have the application of your faculty experiencing this in the real world as they're teaching it. And then 691, I'm going to get into a few of those in this next slide, but they're usually variable credit that we may offer 1 credit courses in the summer so you can build your own adventure and take as many classes as you want. Some might be 2.5 weeks, some might be 8 weeks, just depending on how many credits they are. But we do offer electives every single semester. So there's lots of opportunity to explore. And if you want to read the full course descriptions, those bulletin links are right there down at the bottom. And we'll send this particular slide deck out with the recording. Okay, so just looking at examples of what we offer. I already talked about Inno 610 a little bit. This coming spring, we're going to be offering a topics course called User Experience, User Interface. So basically, everything you experience in the world, from a website to going to a restaurant, involves user experience and user interface. So what is the total experience of pulling into a parking lot, going in, meeting the hostess, getting sat. So just as an example of what that experience might actually look like, we map those things and we figure out where our assumptions are and where we're wrong about how people experience things. And we introduce new ways to kind of pull that user research in and apply it to be able to improve processes and services and businesses. It's also really big on any digital product because that user interface is what your customer is actually looking at and clicking on to be able to receive the information or the experience that they wish to have. Um, Designing the Future of Health. This one is a fantastic course. We have a couple variations on this at some point. So these are not all of them. You can go to the website down there at the bottom and see all of our courses for spring. And we'll be posting an updated list for summer shortly. A Scrum Master certification. This is Ingrid's gone through this. I've gone through this.
Hmm.
We're both certified Scrum Masters. Scrum Mastery is not really a role anymore. It used to be like a job specific to that. But
Hmm.
now you see people who are leading product teams being Scrum certified. It is a process methodology to run efficient teams. So a team sets goals together on what they're going to accomplish for a 2 to 3 week sprint. They do that work and then they come back and reflect on what worked, what didn't, and how they can improve in the future and then start the next cycle. So you're consistently putting out usable product. It's used a lot in software development and digital product, but it can be used across the board. We exercise that in 590. So our students get in that project course, they have some structure that allows them to have difficult conversations about how the work has gone and what's not worked, but also gives them the opportunity to celebrate their wins when they get through a sprint. A couple others here, just user research that's specific on user research methodologies, prototyping your ideas. That's a fun one over the summer where you can go into our makerspace and bring in an idea. And we're going to start with some cardboard and tape and various things and continue to expand it to more refined, high fidelity prototypes. Really great person who builds wearable technology, teaches Vincent Vu, who teaches that class. Highly recommend it.
So I do want to punch out here as an opportunity. We talk a lot about products and hardcore tangible things that you put in your hand, but it could be also processes. It's, stuff that's already out
Processes
there
are
that they
patentable.
improve. Hmm.
Mhm. Processes are patentable
Hmm.
if they're novel. Yeah.
It's improving what's out there already. And traditionally, healthcare providers will go to the company that made something and go, can you fix this? Or could you make something different? And this is an opportunity to take that and make it your own, or figure out how to make it your own, actually.
And not just give all your good ideas away
Right,
to
right.
corporations.
Because it's the feet on the ground people that know what needs to be done or fixed.
So looking at tuition, it's a little confusing to talk about. In the event this certificate is the only thing that you are a part of, then you are technically a School of Nursing student and you pay traditional standard tuition for the courses that you take. If you belong to a different graduate program or professional program at VCU, then your tuition rate is the same as that program. So if you're in an MBA program, your tuition per credit hour is going to be that tuition. It's kind of a weird thing, but that's how it's been explained to us. So we want to be clear with everyone in terms of what those rates are. The in-state and out-of-state, those are updated as of the last Board of Visitors meeting, so you can get an idea of what you might be paying out of pocket. And if you are a VCU employee, you can get tuition reimbursement and basically pay for the entire certificate without having to take any money out of pocket or take out loans. Master of Product Innovation students and Master of Nursing Leadership students
Hmm.
can take this certificate program without any additional tuition dollars because they can use the courses in this particular in the certificate as electives in their program. It slots nicely into the Master of Product Innovation. You need 6 credits. And so you can always take more than 6 credits, but it is kind of nice. You basically can get a certificate for the cost of your master's program. Uh, and I already covered that part. And if you want to look at tuition calculator and those kinds of things to figure out if you're in multiple programs, what that might actually look like and the cost, the tuition calculator link is right there down at the bottom. All right.
Well, I could speak to some scholarships, the scholarships school, and the rest of this is going to be yours, Allison. Okay, the scholarships, the School of Nursing, there's a link right there, so that could be investigated, and those fluctuate on and off, depending on donors and et cetera. So they're, and then the Vinci Center, it's all yours.
Yeah, so generally because we're a relatively small program for the Master of Product Innovation, we normally don't take more than 20 to 25 students in a cohort. And our program has a special rate that's a bit higher than other programs on campus. It's not too far off from some of our other competitors here at VCU, like the Brand Center. But because of that, we do reserve our donor funds that come in each year for scholarships for students who are enrolled in the Master of Product Innovation. So at this time, we do not currently have any scholarships or fellowships for students who are only enrolled in the certificate program. So just to make that clear. Financial aid and loans, if you have never been in a graduate program before, you've only been an undergraduate, you don't have to take 12 credits to get financial aid when you're a graduate student. You only have to take 5. So generally, we're not necessarily adding up to 5. Normally, it's 6 at a time, but you get the idea that you do have access to federal funds if you are a resident in the United States, just by doing 5 credits. That's not even considered full time for a graduate student. That's 9 credits, but I digress. So if you would rather take out personal loans instead of going through the federal government, VCU tends to recommend Elm Select as a good option. Graduate assistantships. This is something that we do offer to Master of Product Innovation students. There are quite a few of them that we employ to kind of balance what they might want to learn along with the needs of the center. And they can develop skills and build their portfolios. But there are a lot of graduate assistantships that are open to anyone who is enrolled in a graduate program, and those are primarily found on Handshake. I have had some of my students be able to find fully funded master's programs that they're or master's funding to be able to use through a scholarship or through a graduate assistantship that's been awarded to them, even though they are not actually a student in that particular department. So there are opportunities across the board. And so if you're looking for a little bit of assistance, I highly recommend looking into some graduate assistantships. They can provide some really good experience. Oh, and I just explained all of that without being on that slide. Let's go. Oh, wait, there we go. There it is.
Now you're on, go to the next one.
I was looking at my other screen. All right,
There
Ingrid.
you go. Are the fee waivers, did you cover that?
Mm-mm.
Fee waivers are available. I think the application fee is $70 otherwise. This is what you need to submit: 3 references, letters of recommendations. They could be professional and or academic. Only names and email addresses are required at the time of the application. The actual letters can come after. A statement of purpose, we need to know what you're thinking about entering the program. And a resume stating relevant work experience is required. And we do require official transcripts, but not right away. Those could come later. We know that they take time to get to us from all the schools that are done that you have been to. So you can submit unofficial transcripts to us as a reference before your interview, um, which is probably the first time we're mentioning that there's an interview process. Official transcripts are needed though, so you can fully be integrated into the program or accepted into the program.
Yeah. Just to reiterate something that Ingrid had said earlier about a holistic review, we have
Mhm.
tried to remove every barrier that we possibly can for students to be able to apply to a program that they might be excited about. If this is something that really interests you and gets you excited, by all means apply. Reach out to us, have conversations with us. We're happy to talk to you before you
Mhm.
apply. After you apply, we'll interview you when you actually apply to it. And I say this because most of this is applied. So test scores and those kinds of things don't necessarily tell us about how successful you could be in this program. We are interested in the human that you are and your interest in doing this work and where you might want to go with it. It's a little different than I think just applying to a school of nursing or just applying to a school of business. This is something where we really take the opportunity to get to know the humans behind this.
Mhm.
So your letters of reference, that's an excellent thing for us to be able to understand previous experiences, your statement of purpose. We have a few questions in the system that you can address one or all of them. But again, we're just trying to learn more about you to make sure that you're a good fit for this program.
So there's really no wrong answer to any of those.
No. There really isn't. I mean, we're going to review every single applicant that comes through.
Hmm.
And, unless there's a whole bunch of red flags, likely you're going to make it to an interview stage. And we're going to decide together whether or not it's a good fit because we want to make sure that we're a good fit for you too. We don't want you to join a program that you're kind of unsure about. We don't want you spending tuition dollars unless you know it's a good fit. And doing that or going through the interview process, you get to know us a little bit better too, which can help you make your decision. So, last slide here, reach out to us. Like I said, we're happy to meet with you. Ingrid and I both have pretty full schedules, but we prioritize meetings with students. We can email back and forth. We can actually hop onto a call or meet in person if you like to
Hmm.
discuss. So yeah,
Yes.
let us know if you have questions. But we have one person left here, Carrie. Do you happen to have any questions for us?
I don't know if I have questions. I'm having thoughts because, with our caps, and again, I'm kind of coming out of the lens. First, I'm really interested in the leadership and organizational course for myself because I feel like
Hmm.
I'm always passionate about that and holistic leadership. So that's selfish. Then my educator cap, I think it would be, so again, um, thinking about the students and is there a way that they could take some of these credits in addition to their capstone and come out with a greater certificate? So I'm just kind of trying to process some of that of what the potentials could be for them to walk away with something more concrete, or further enhance their resume through this process and what might that
Hmm.
potentially look like. So um,
I think it's a great opportunity to do that.
right. And I'm just thinking about the courses with this, the School of Nursing for them
Hmm.
because we give them a leadership course, but it's a condensed week course during the summer. So the authentic learning that's going on, I do everything in my power to really make it stimulating and exciting, but at the same time, not sure where their cognitive capacity and their load is at that point, respectfully. So having them kind of tap into another leadership course might be really thoughtful, given the curriculum design in our capstone mission. So sorry, I'm a very fluid thinker, so I apologize if it sounds like I'm not being
No, no.
coherent or
Oh, no, you fit right in with us. You're
okay,
good.
Yeah,
perfect.
that
Yeah.
that was very clear. I followed you
Okay.
every step of the way.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you for saying that. So
we're we're always open to exploring how courses
yeah.
can be implemented
Okay.
in other programs, how we can accept courses from other programs depending
Okay.
on where the innovation is happening. So
Okay.
cross-listing things, we're really meant to be able to adapt to anything at the
Okay.
university. So with your administrator educator cap on, uh,
Okay.
we can do a follow-up conversation and kind of look at
Yeah.
our programs and dream about what might be able to happen,
Right.
and then figure out through all the red tape what they're actually going to let us do.
Right. And because the other thing we do, and this, I'm not trying to pitch a capstone at all. We have like our capstones are divided into three tracks. So we have an education, a research, and a community track. So I
Hmm.
was actually thinking in the future, if we wanted to collaborate with a capstone student in one of these courses so they could get a deeper understanding, of all the thought process, curriculum design, learning objectives, measuring outcomes. I think that would be a really thoughtful component beyond being a participant in the class, but really kind of getting that lens of education beyond just the OT program. And I think that could be very, very thoughtful for someone that might want to go not necessarily into even academia, but administration from a leadership
Oh,
standpoint.
There
100%.
are many courses that are in
Yeah,
the leadership program that
yeah,
we can, if it fits the
right.
certificate, we can absolutely
Yeah.
switch it. Did you want to turn this off, the video?
I was just going to give us a conclusion. So we're going to cut it here. So anybody who's watching this afterwards, thank you so much for tuning in. Please reach out to Ingrid or I if you have questions. We are happy to be of service and clear up any confusion that
Absolutely.
you might have. But thank you very much and have a wonderful evening. I can stop my recording. There we go. That's okay. My person will